How many times do you get somebody like that coming to visit you on a Saturday with ways to be able to hear you and you're not talking to her? How many times do you get somebody like that coming to visit you on a Saturday with ways to be able to hear you and you're not talking to her?
Hello there. I am so glad that you are here because, I am so fortunate. I absolutely love what I get to do. I am Kat Hobson. I'm your host here on Paranormal Experience. I also host Debate Magazine Radio on Sunday nights, so be sure and catch that too. But I am here. I'm so excited. And I've got somebody who is absolutely, hands down, one of the best people that I know. She's great with her conference. She is Holly Freeburg. She is from Eureka Springs. Well, she works in Eureka Springs. She is the person who gets talent, talks to talent, organizes, does all the things, and coordinates the Ozark Mountain UFO Conference, which y'all have heard me talk about left, right, and center. And that's even when I'm not promoting it, right? It's the best conference if you want to personally interact with people who are going to be lecturing. And I'm going to tell you that you never know what kind of person you're going to run into there. Last year, for example, I had no idea that there were Bosnian pyramids. No idea. I had not heard about it, had not read about it. And I read about this stuff. I research this stuff. So I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of like, well, this should be an interesting lecture. So I'm in the restaurant at the hotel having breakfast, and Indiana Jones walks in. And Holly's going to be laughing at this because she knows it's true. This man walked in, sat down, only ate soup, didn't eat real food, just nutrition, and talked, got everybody fired up for his lecture, and left. And it was kind of like the reaction was, who was that masked man? And so when we got to his lecture, oh my God, he's Dr. Sam. He is the guy who is doing the Bosnian pyramids. He is talking kids into coming out. They found these. Well, I'm going to talk about that with Holly because you've got to meet Holly. So Holly Freeburg, she is the coordinator of talent for this conference. She does all kinds of things. They all wear a bunch of different hats. But Holly Freeburg, I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate your show and all the support. And we have really good conversations at the conference itself. So
We
I
do,
think,
right? When you
oh
have
yeah,
time to have a conversation. You do
oh yeah.
really well though, because I've got to think by the time it's rolling, you're kind of going, okay, we're here. It's doing it, right?
Oh
When do you
yeah,
act,
yeah.
when do you actually take a deep breath?
Probably on Sunday, if I'm honest. Because by then I'm like, okay, everything's wrapping up. Anything that could have gone wrong did already, and we already fixed it. So
It's over. Yes.
usually by Sunday I'm like, oh, la di da. It's like, or well, I'd say Saturday night I'm pretty comfortable. A lot of what I do has to do with like helping the vendors set up, helping the press get in, and usually by that point everyone's done their thing, you know. So
Yes.
and then I also try to make sure I capture all the moments I can, get the marketing, put out a nice showcase. We have this little crochet mascot named Zebert that
Yes.
I like to pose because he's showing the conference. So he goes on a journey, and we have a lot of fun with it. And then of course there's like Star Wars cosplayers running around. So
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love cosplayers. I'm not going to lie. To
oh
me,
yeah,
that's a good time.
they're coming back, and we
Oh,
got
good.
we got some new characters coming in from last year. So we got some of the familiar ones, and then we got some fan favorites. So
Well, I tell you what, people love that stuff.
oh yeah, it's who couldn't, right? Like
I know I do. I mean, I'm a geek anyway. So when I get to see stuff like that, I get fired up.
oh
I think
yeah,
it's fun.
oh
And
yeah, and the guys that do it are just so awesome. Like they do. They're part of a group that does charity work. So
Mhm.
they're out like every other weekend going to events, making kids little like make-a-wish dreams
Yeah,
come
like
true.
the heroes for what is that called? Because I've been
Oh
to other conferences like in Pennsylvania where they have those. I can't remember what the organization is, but they're
uh
all superheroes.
yes,
And
yes. There's
and
actually a couple of them with like different ones, but this one is is the one that does the Star Wars stuff. Uh
yes,
and well, it's funny, ever since Disney kind of took over there, I have to be careful how I talk about them, but they're just really awesome folks, and they have chapters all over the country. So there's just all these fantastic people, and it's like really authentic costume. Like these guys go
yes,
all out. So it's always a fun time.
they're like the real deal.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean, they are so in character.
They are. We even like I took them they agreed to walk around Eureka Springs with me to tell people
Oh wow,
while the conference was going on. So we like stopped by a coffee shop, and it was just really fun. So we get to have a few little fun gimmicks.
yeah,
And then of course there's the serious conversations, which they just blow your mind. I mean, we've had so
yeah,
many big names over the years, and I do like marketing, so I look at the
yeah.
YouTube videos of all the lectures I missed, and I was like, whoa, I can't believe they got
Yes.
them.
Well, you know, my first year was Chase's first time to speak, and
Oh
so and that's when because Stanton Friedman and I were friends, but we had never met in person. So I got to meet Stanton, and then that was Mark D'Antonio's first time there. You know, Richard was there with oh dear, Richard and Save Me, his wife,
oh
Tracy,
yes,
Tracy
Tracy,
Barbett.
you're right.
And, you know, there were so many people that I knew, but had not really gotten any FaceTime with. So that was amazing. And that was the year they lost Stanton's products, and, you know, his whole merch suitcase disappeared. And then he sold out all of his books in like 10 minutes once it got there. And he was like, oh, I'm done now. We can talk. You know,
Oh
I
yeah,
love that. But I mean, that's how close the average person is to your talent.
it really is. I mean, I've had a few
It's very
moments myself.
personal.
I had a few moments where I'm like, okay, let me not fangirl right in front of them, right? Let
Hard,
me be
right?
professional. But it's
Yeah.
like, last year I just had such great highlights. I had like
Yes.
dinner with Penny Kelly and
Yes.
breakfast with Kathleen Martin, and I'm just like,
Yes.
this is this is this is insane, because you watch them on podcasts, you watch them on, the documentaries, the History Channel, and it's just something else when you're just in a room with them and able to ask questions. And I just shared so many like cool moments because I was talking to Kathleen Martin over in the vendor area, and this teenager came up to us and said, hey, my friend saw this weird sighting and recorded it. Do you think this is real? And so I'm watching Kathleen like analyze this footage, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, that looks like the real deal. And she's like, I'm gonna go with yes on that one. I'd have to do further investigation, but yeah, and just the look on that teenager's face, she was so validated in that moment, and it was
Well,
such a
that had to be pretty good. That had to be pretty good footage because she does not just go out on a limb
oh
as a
no, she
rule.
doesn't. So
She's
it was.
very, but I just think, I love her because she is, she's very nice, just nice. On top of being such a brilliant writer and so science based, and she really has lived with this her whole life.
Oh yeah.
And so when I did not know about her being attacked, okay.
Mm,
So when I saw her last year, I was like, Kathy, I haven't seen you in so long. And
yeah.
it scared her. Not because of me, but because she had somebody poured a mysterious substance over her that turned out
Oh,
not to be so mysterious and very deadly. And
ooh.
so I was just like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And I'm so sorry because I bet I scared the fire out of you, And she was like, well, once I realized it was you, it was okay. But flashbacks, I'm sure they're flashbacks because you don't get over stuff like that very well.
Oh no.
And, so, but she's one of the most brilliant humans that I've met in this field or pretty much anywhere. So
Oh yeah.
kudos to you on having her because she's a good get and she's really cool.
Oh yeah, she just rolls with it. There's so
Yeah.
many of our speakers that are just they're just lovely people, you know?
Yes.
And I think ufology is kind of a unique field in that I there are divas out there somewhat, but
I know a few.
the overwhelming
I'm one.
majority. I don't know if I'd call you a diva.
Probably not. Not as a
No.
rule. So,
No, but, no, like, what I've found working at the conference is there's just an overwhelming amount of, like, really humble, really cool people having legit conversations with
mhm.
everyone, shaking everyone's hand, like, and it amazes you because some of them are pretty big names,
Well,
and you're just
yeah,
like, "Whoa," uh, why did Nick Pope remember my name? Like, when we met, like, I sent him 2 emails, but that's just the kind of person he is, right?
it is. Yeah, he's one of the nicest men I know in this field, especially.
Oh, yes. Yes, he's such a cool guy, and, he's not the only one. I would argue he might be the nicest one, however,
I would
like,
argue that too.
because he's just so I don't know, he lights up a
He's a
room.
gentleman.
Yes,
I think
yes.
it's the British thing. I don't know. I have met British people that were not that nice. So maybe it's just him. But um, I'm just teasing. I'm a Anglophile. But
Oh, yeah, same here. I
you
have
know,
to
I
watch myself because I watch so many shows with British accents, and
yeah,
sometimes I'll mimic it, so I was like, "Oh, don't mimic, I'm not making
don't
fun."
mimic. Well, that's a real easy accent to kind of drop into.
Oh, yeah,
And I am,
especially for Southerners, it's not
yes,
far.
no. And I kind of am a natural mimic, and I don't intend that ever. And
Oh,
I start talking like whoever I'm talking to on occasion. And it's just kind of like, not mocking, promise, not mocking.
yeah,
But
it's a sign of endearment, I promise.
promise. One of the oh, what is his name? The little Egyptian man. He's on Ancient Aliens a lot. He's small, dark haired, very handsome, knows a lot about the pyramids, and it just flew right out the window.
Oh, I know,
But
same here.
But when I was talking to him one afternoon, we had been sitting around just chit chatting, and we wound up talking for a while. And I was like, "What did I just say? I sounded. I did not mean to copy you. I just do that." And he was like, "People do it all the time. I wind up sounding Southern before we get through." And I'm like, "Yeah, I see that happening, dude." But
It happens.
it does. Well, all of the people that I've met through, because there were a lot of people that I knew of but did not know, and like the Dolans. So when you modestly say that you get some names sometimes, you get some names. You do a really good job. And I feel like, I mean, my husband laughs at me, but if you don't ask, you don't get, right? So, I've interviewed George Norrie, and I've interviewed Stanton. I interviewed Stanton several times, and I've interviewed people that I was intimidated to pick the phone up and call. So I found a way to break that ice.
Oh yeah.
And when you started doing this, how did you get over that kind of like, oh, I need to call these people, but they don't know me, but I need them. How did you break that ice for yourself?
Um, well, I think part of it is like experience of cold calling, right? I in past roles at other places, I had to make cold calls, and I think with any person, famous, not famous, right?
Mhm.
There is like this nervous factor, or I would say even more so in like millennials like me, right? Because we're like the texting generation, right? And
Yes.
so
And they
anytime
don't text.
yeah, yeah. And
But
like anytime you have that situation where you have to pick up that phone, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna this is a person, I'm gonna do my best, right? And hope for the best. And it's just, you never know. It's like you said, like you don't know until you ask. I think my favorite line from Harry Potter is help comes to those who ask for it, right?
yes.
And I'm a
Yes.
firm believer in that. And also sometimes they don't sometimes they'll call us, right? Sometimes they'll message us and say, hey, um I got a clear schedule, like let's do something, and
Right.
you're like, oh yeah, okay.
You're
That's
not going to say no if
oh
it's a
no, and we
name.
got we have a committee that makes, the selection, so that kind of helps, right? You got a team of people that can do the calls, and a team of people voting on who we go with, right?
Right.
It's true for our speakers. It's true for our vendors, because we believe that firmly in like a democratic system.
Mhm.
We also like those surveys that we have people fill out every year.
Yes.
We read them and take them seriously. So if we see a name coming up again and again and again on a survey, we'll actually say, you know what? Yeah, it is time to call them this year. Like, because when enough minds come together and come to the same conclusion, we just roll with that.
Yeah.
So this is a great segue. We do actually read all of the surveys. So and that is the best way to suggest speakers for the general public if they're wondering, because like I said, we take them seriously, and you get enough voices saying, hey, call so and so, and the worst they can say is, no, I'm sorry, I'm busy, right?
Right.
So
Well, you, you know, one of the things that, and I don't know if you've had him or not, but somebody that I have seen at conferences that I don't know what he would be like now because he's lost his sidekick, but is Giorgio Tsoukalos. because he is because he basically was Eric Von Daniken's not just friend because they're from the same town, but also Eric was kind of like his hero, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would mind Eric when they were at conferences together and stuff. And but he is very down to earth, and he knows how to get through a crowd. He just puts a hat on. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, but also very user friendly for his public too.
Oh
But
yeah.
have y'all ever had him there?
Um, let's see. I'm trying. We used to have so the publishing company I work for, Ozark
Right.
Mountain Publishing, had a second conference called the Transformation Conference, and it was
Yes.
actually they were doing that conference before they were doing the Ozark Mountain UFO Conference,
Right.
because what happened there was Dolores Cannon was who is the founder of Ozark Mountain Publishing, wasn't handed the baton to the UFO conference until 2013, because
Right.
it was originally Lou Farish's baby, you know.
Right.
And it's what's interesting about this conference, it's the longest running UFO conference in the United States, I believe, because they started back in the 80s. So
Yes.
it might not be the largest conference, right? There's definitely
It
larger.
doesn't need to be the largest.
Oh yes, yes, but
It is the best conference.
it is a good size, and also when Lou Farish founded it, his goal was to give this area, the Midwest and the South, an affordable option
Yes.
to get into this topic, because and Dolores Cannon and now her family that runs the publishing company and the UFO conference, they believe firmly in that. So we try to be the most accessible price wise as much as we can.
Well, you are. And you know, one of the things that when I first came, I wasn't sure what I was coming to be honest, because I had been to these big showboat ones, which I like. I mean, not slamming those.
Yeah.
But I did not anticipate the level of connectivity.
Oh yeah.
Between everyone. You know, it was just the most bizarre thing. And not bizarre, but it was unexpected. You know, I walked into the door. Well, I checked into my room, and all of these people that I knew were next door to me. And I was just like, because I got one of the suites, and I was just like, oh, I know all these people. Oh my word.
Yeah.
And so then I started meeting the attendees, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love all these people. I mean, because the way that this is set up, and for listeners that haven't already heard me just rail on and on about how cool this is the kind of place where you're going to hear somebody talk about Bigfoot, and then you'll hear somebody talk about their abduction experience or
remote viewing or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, I mean it's so many different phases of high strangeness. I mean, it really is. And you can talk to anybody, you know, after their lecture or over breakfast or, you know, walking down to the conference area. I mean, or in Eureka Springs when you go down there to check out the restaurants and shops they have down there too. I mean, there's so many ways to interact with each other, and you'll meet so many people from all over, really all over the country, but most of them sound kind of like me to an extent. And that's interesting and unusual. So, it's cool because you know who's going to be there speaking, but you don't know who's going to show up to play. So that's
You really
pretty
don't.
cool.
Like, we've had a few surprises this year that I'm
Yeah.
really excited about, like, even in our vendor area, which is free to the public, by the way.
Yes.
So, one thing I want people to know is, like, with this UFO conference, you don't even have to pay to check things out. You have to pay to see the speakers, and
Yes.
you don't even have to buy a full pass. Like, we have options for a day, you want to come Friday. We got options for individual speakers, you want to go see the keynote. You want to
You
see
have
an
two.
individual, yeah. So there's just so many ways that you can experience it. There's the meet and greet, which is a lot of fun. It's,
Amazing.
you just get so much time with the speakers and the other people that show up. And I've heard people say, like, sometimes the attendees, just hearing someone's story that's incredible, you're just blown away. I can think of a few attendees that I'm just like, I look forward to seeing them again because they'll tell you their story, how they experienced extraterrestrials, or a near death experience, or some of them have like ghost hunting stories, and you just never know what you're going to get, right? And sometimes we have people like recently, Kenneth Arnold's granddaughter
Yes.
applied to be a vendor, and we were like, of course, come on down. So Chanel Arnold's going to be at the conference, selling her grandfather's republished book,
Cool beans.
and some Bud Hopkins memorabilia. So definitely worth checking out. And then we have quite a few, like, very interesting vendors, that do different readings, that do all kinds of things. And it's just, there's such a cool mix of people,
Yes.
and you just have, it's like every year now that I'm like familiar, I kind of feel like I'm seeing my friends every year when I go back.
Yes. And that's exactly what it feels like.
And
And
as a matter of fact,
I'm not even one of y'all, but that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like old home week.
oh
You
yeah,
know.
well, every year I look forward. One of the people that works for the conference is one of my college roommates,
Okay.
and she comes to help out with the conference every year. And it's just so amazing to see her interact with this, with these topics. Because back in college, she says she was afraid of ghosts, afraid of the paranormal stuff, but I'm like, are you really? Because you're like putting yourself in Eureka.
Yeah. Right.
So I think she's one of those that, the anomalies are just really intriguing, right?
Yeah. I think
And
that's a great word for that
yeah,
because they're different and they can be unexpected, but I think intriguing is a really good way to phrase that.
oh yeah, because you have people that are like, I'm not sure this is real. I'm not sure how to explain this, but I can't stop watching. I can't stop listening to this story. And so I'm like, yeah, bring on the people with intrigue. Like, and we've seen people over the years like come in and they're like, I don't know how I feel about UAPs. I don't know if I believe there's life out there, right? I don't know if I believe in ghosts or whatever your Sasquatch, whatever
Right.
we're dealing with. I don't know if I believe in that. Well, they come anyway,
Yeah.
and their minds are blown, right? And some of them pull a Scully, and come to a place where they're like, okay, I've seen too much to hold on to my old views, right?
Yes.
And then, others not so much, but
Yeah.
it's just something that you grow into. And in my own personal experience, I've had the Scully outlook early season, right? Being a
What
skeptic.
created yours?
Yeah, but then I just
Wait,
saw.
wait, wait. But
Oh,
wait. What created that?
what created that? I I suspect the entertainment industry, if I'm honest, the way that they portray it, the cheese, all those hoaxes, things that turned out to be hoaxes, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Kind of gives you a sense of like, okay, maybe not, right? Like, and then I think everyone, or at least most of the people I talk to, have a time where they're just like, okay, I'm free to make my own thoughts. I'm free to make my own decisions. I'm out of the house. What do I believe in, right?
Yes.
And so with that, I'm like, I was always one like, there's no such thing as a question that cannot be asked, right? Even if you
Right.
have a suspension of disbelief at first, you
Well,
sh- you shouldn't be afraid to ask, like, okay, is there something to this? You know?
well, you're exactly right. When that disbelief is confronted by a reality that you did not anticipate, that's a paradigm shift. I mean, there's no going back from that.
There's not. And what you end up doing on that journey is you find the people you could tell, and
It's not
uh
always who you think they were going to be either.
oh no, there's people I look at from my past where just if you go by appearance, if you go by their vibe or whatever you want to call it, you would think that they could believe that, right? And then you have other people that's the last person you expect to buy into that at all, right?
Yep.
But I think daring to ask the question, daring to admit when your paradigm shift is actually happening is a big key to, like, coming to a place where you could truly be more objective, right? Like,
Even if you
because
didn't plan to be.
yes.
That's a
It-
big that's a big theory,
oh yeah, and you
because
open up a new world. You really
you
do.
really do. You know, I started mine with ghost hunting,
Yeah.
right? Because I had experienced all of my life, but I did never documented anything. And then I saw ghost hunters, and I'm like, oh, I can find stuff. You know, I can find stuff.
Yeah, and
Maybe,
then you
and
also
then
encounter that moment where you see something that you're just like, "Okay, my old views cannot explain this at all." So, it's time
oh,
to listen to the voices that are talking about it and think for myself and see, okay, what are they presenting? And I find with anomalies, it's better to approach it like sociology, right? Sociology is about like getting a lot of repeating stories, right? That's how it works. You kind of build like cases that way.
you do.
So, because surely 1,000 people, right, saying similar things, like
Over
all the
decades, over
yeah,
decades. I
over
mean,
decades, they're seeing the same thing, right? Or they're seeing something, right? Even if they don't
yes.
understand it. So just kind of opening up to that. But this year there's really a lot of really good people to, like, check out and have that experience for yourself, right?
Well,
So
there are because one of the things that, and you do always have really terrific guests, and I get blown away by most of them. But I interviewed Melinda Greer Sunday, and that was one of the more interesting conversations I've had this year.
Oh yeah.
And
I was
you know,
like blown away by y'all were talking about dreams. I like watched it last week and I was just like, uh that's funny that they said that they haven't encountered that kind of people having those kind of dreams. Like y'all were talking about dreams where you were experiencing other situations in first person,
Mhm.
but you had a sense that it wasn't necessarily a past life,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And I was like, they've never talked to anyone that's experienced that because I obviously through the conference I get to talk to a lot of people. Also joined a lot of groups that like meet over Zoom that have these kind of conversations. And I was like, that's really funny because actually that's been coming up a lot with the other
really,
people I talk to. Yeah. And and I know because I had one too, you know, and I think what was creepy about the one I had was my friend looked up the names I gave and like the rough locations of where they were at. And what I saw was an actual case. Like it was a situation where I witnessed a crime happening to someone else.
Mhm.
Uh and I was them, right? I was like in their skin. I was it was a first
yes,
person and I
and that's so bizarre.
yeah, and what's spooky about it, this person this is not like a case where like, it happened years ago like or you know, like it happened in the 40s or something, right? Like it wasn't this case happened while I'm alive, like
Yes,
this person is still alive, right? And I saw something that happened to them in 2014. And it was just so, there were so many details, right? And
right,
I actually saw who did what to basically it was a lady that got kidnapped and assaulted and all kinds of awful things. And I had the impression she was in Chicago and then she was taken in a red truck by this man with like these tattoos to Texas. And uh I saw his face and I like drew it.
yeah,
And then I looked up the names because I had gotten some names out of the dream.
right,
And these were real people, and I looked at the picture of his mugshot, and it matched the face I drew, like, and
wow,
that was something that I was like, "Okay, I don't know how do I explain that?" You know?
that's apparently apparently that happens. I mean, but
Yeah.
that is so random.
Yeah, and the case was solved, so thankfully, the FBI caught the kidnapper, and the
Right.
lady was returned safe,
Oh
with
well,
her
that's
family.
so cool that's how that turned out.
Oh yeah, yeah, because I was like I was frustrated with the dream because I thought, well, I didn't really get enough information to know who the guy was and who to report, right? And
Right.
I didn't have a good sense of a timeline of when this was happening. It looked modern, you know? So, it was just kind of a very weird experience, but it's something I've seen people talking about a lot more, and I think I think all of these anomalies connect to, like, consciousness, and a lot of our
Yes.
speakers kind of agree with that, like, we don't really know what consciousness is and what it means, but we're stumbling upon a lot of things that point towards a different reality than what the mainstream likes to talk
Which
about.
just happens to be a really great book title. But you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. And well, you know,
Right?
we got some people that will speak more on it. I know Dr. Greer has a lot to say about, like, you know, reality is not quite, you know, what we thought, right? And we need to listen to the people that have missing time, near death experiences, right?
Yeah.
We need to just have these conversations because there's deeper connections there, and
Yes.
we have quite a few speakers that are leaning towards that, right? Like, because you got Dr. Greer, you have Samuel Chong, who comes into that, right? And he's just looking at it from a different lens. Like, he has the scoop on what the Chinese think of the UAP topic,
Yeah.
because he's a translator, like he's a certified court translator, um, and he really got into the topic through the Tayuba prophecy, which
Mhm.
I didn't know a lot about until recently, right?
Yeah.
Because I think what people don't realize, especially those outside of ufology, how deep the rabbit hole gets, right?
Well, I I started I started hosting Fate 5 years ago. I've done paranormal experience for 10 years. And it's astounding. It's astounding where these paths will lead. And it's also astounding, maybe even more so, how interconnected all of these phenomena are.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's the consciousness, the oversoul, um, which people take that in a lot of different ways, but the oversoul is very personal to each individual. But there still seems to be some connectivity there. And it's so bizarre how the interplay. I mean,
Oh
you know,
yeah. Even if you
sometimes,
have someone, I had a dream where Morpheus, you know, like Matrix
yes,
Morpheus, he
yes,
came to try to show me how it connected, like in the dream. And
yes,
it was the most bizarre dream I've had, I would say, just hands down. And he was trying to show me the matrix of reality.
right,
And it was just so, there was such an abstract element that I couldn't describe it. Like, it was almost like there was something to it that you just, our language fails to communicate.
yes,
And so I did my best to, like, do an abstract drawing of it. And um in that dream, Morpheus was like, "You're close," you know, or, you know, it's, you need to shift this over here, right? But it's a good, like, metaphor or what have you, because I don't know, I just had a moment where I was learning about that consciousness, that oversoul, and I was
mhm,
trying to explain it to someone else, and so I thought, let me draw it, like, because like you said, there's different levels to it, you know?
yeah,
And it goes pretty deep, but, you know, in the broadness of the topics that we have, I mean, we have people coming that look at it from the political side, right? You know,
yes.
Stephen Bassett,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
this guy, this
he's
guy,
great.
he is great. You know, when I was at another conference in California a couple of years ago, and I'm often just a frog on the wall, right? Just watching what's going on around me. And boy, that was southern. But
You're good.
that was, but I watched him, and he is a firm believer. And if you've got information to get out there, if you're working hard, if you're a writer that's got a book, if you're, he was hooking up someone I knew who did not have a publicist, but had written some really good information and was getting their name out, but needed help. And he just said, "This is the name of my publicist. You call him." I mean,
Wow.
who does that, right?
And that's
so
incredible.
he is he's all about getting the information out.
He is.
Let's talk. Let's get this done. Yeah.
Well, he's all over Capitol Hill. I mean, in almost every UAP hearing, right, that they've had.
I interviewed him.
Yeah.
You can ask Carl, because it was freaking hilarious, because he forgot. He got caught up in something on the Hill, right? So he's going down DuPont Street trying to get to his car and realizes it's time. And so he pops into a coffee shop and calls me on his cell phone. And I've got this side of his face, I've got his nose, I've got this ear, I've got, through the whole show. It was so cool that he did that, because, he's drinking his coffee. He's just doing life while he's talking. And so it's funny. I've got Steve Bassett like from here and that, and, and he's so amazing with his knowledge.
Oh yeah, you could ask him anything, right? And well, what I really appreciate about him, if we're talking about like, trying to help with disclosure, right?
Yes.
He's one of the people that has practical applications. He's
absolutely
like, get involved here, tell your Congress representative this, call them, like, and what I like about people like him, when people have active steps to get involved, it's so much more, there's so much more meaning, right?
Yes.
And
they're putting skin in the game.
Oh yeah. And
they're putting themselves on the line to do it.
And there's like a kind of a reward factor, like, because I used to, in previous jobs, I did advocacy. I had a brief time of doing advocacy for like over punished drug offenders in the state of Arkansas, right? And there was something about being part of like a grassroots movement, right? Yes. Like going to like a civil rights caucus and actually talking to people on the Hill as like an everyday person, like getting them to look at the issues that matter to the people. There's something very empowering about that. And, he gets it. He's right there,
And he is, I would venture to say, he's probably a thorn in a few people's butts.
Oh, yes, yes.
He's very out there, very straightforward.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's with that kind of work, no matter what issue you're facing, it takes someone with that persistent advocate, right?
Yes.
And so that's what I like about him. And so that's what makes him a great keynote. And if people want to catch him, he's our Saturday keynote. So
yeah,
definitely you're going to want to catch him there. And then of course we love Mark D'Antonio. Like
we do.
Yeah. He's just,
he's so full of guy. He's a great guy.
And he's got so many places where they've consulted his expertise,
and he's got a lot. He's got a vast array of expertise. He is he's just a very special individual. It's not just the astronomy. He does defense. He does defense work with his other side. And the astounding thing is that, he had a massive stroke. He almost died. He was 3 days away from dying. They were going to pull the plug, and he knew that. And he heard them talking about it, and he started fighting to survive, and he did.
Wow.
And I think that pretty much explains Mark D'Antonio in a sentence. But he
Oh yeah.
is, but he is just full of hijinks. He is so funny. But
Oh yeah. You
when it,
never know what you'll get from him. One
and you
year.
don't know which one of them you're going to get. But he's really one of the smartest people, period. And he has the added benefit of, I think that his brain works different now,
Yep.
and so because he's got a very unique way of looking at things, and
He
he's very
does.
direct.
And
He's very direct.
he has so many angles to the conversation. Like I think he has so many different presentations. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of funny. I think the last time he presented with us, his talk was entitled TBA because I think he had so many different approaches to what he
Yes.
was doing. It was he didn't have the name, like,
Yes.
and he just rolled with it, right? Like, and it was such a brilliant talk, you're like, okay, yeah, this guy gets it, and
Yeah.
he brings a little bit of humor. I mean, they all do,
They
and
do.
that's
But he is wicked funny. I
he's
mean,
it's just great.
he just really is. And when because you don't really expect that because he is such a science guy.
Oh yeah.
He's totally the science guy. And he drives me crazy because he'll be talking about something and it is something that I know and can comprehend. And I'm like, do you know what this is? I'm like, yes, I do. But it's not that he's being an ass. It's that he wants to make sure that you're clear on what he's discussing, right? Because he doesn't want you to miss anything.
He's
So
thorough.
he's very thorough.
Thorough.
And, and so while at times that has taken me aback, and I'm like, why would I not? But he just wants to make sure that you're not just smiling and nodding, that you're understanding, because if you're not, he will break it down for you so that you can, because he's talked about stuff over my head before.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like, can you go back to that? And he doesn't mind. So if you get the chance to interact with him, at the speakers tables or whatever, then take advantage of that because he is a font of information and he loves space. He loves everything, really. Great
Oh yeah.
attitude at life.
My
But
husband's a space enthusiast,
yeah,
and I'm like, you really need to go see Mark, dear, because y'all could have such a good conversation. Because
they would.
it's just like my husband's always telling people like what the distance between stars are. It just it warms his heart. And I don't have the math in my brain to track it. But I'm
Well,
just
I'm
like,
not a math girl either.
yeah.
Okay. So,
But
but
his joy of space,
yes,
it's
just a
so
love for it.
it's so contagious, and I learned so many new things. So
Oh, I have to tell you, I took my grandson, first grader, to the book fair the other day. And so we were getting all of the baseball books and all of the this and all of the that. Well, they had a book, and it's a pretty large book for a kid's book fair, an elementary school book fair. But it was like, so you think you know about space?
oh, that's great.
And I was like, we're getting this. And I was like, I'm getting this. This is not your book. I'm
Yeah,
taking
it's
this
my
book
book
home.
now.
So he was just like, what? I was like, I'll bring it back. I'm going to just go see what they say. So, because I love that too, but I don't have that strong of a working knowledge. And I thought, well, I'll just go back through and just start with the elementals and see what it says. And that way I can discuss it with my grandson on his level. And, I'm just going to pass it around the kids. I've got 4 grands, so I will just share that with all of them.
Oh yeah.
And, just let them roll. But stuff like that, if you have somebody that has that contagion of enthusiasm, and Mark does.
Yeah.
Well, that's like Stanton with physics. I
Yeah.
mean, I was just like, what? And he was like, no, it's da, 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 da. It is A to B to C. All you've got to know. And I'm like, so I'm a physicist now. He was like, oh no.
No, nowhere
Oh
near it.
no. But Stanton and I mean, we were kind of like runaway horse thieves. I just loved him. He was the nicest man. And the first time I talked to him, I left a message and he called me back. So I wanted him to come on with me. That was way before I was doing Fate. But so when he called me back, I had a Fitbit and I answered the phone on my Fitbit.
Yeah.
You know, not knowing that's who that was. So he says, this is Stanton Friedman, and somebody called me from this number, and I am calling back. And I was like, oh no. Okay. I'm going to have to call you right back.
Oh
And he
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
well, what? I said, I'll tell you when I call you back. I have to call you right back. So I went and I grabbed the phone. I called him, and he was like, no, I was like, yeah, I'm talking to you on my phone. And he was like, well, what is that? I said, I was on my watch, Stanton, or Dr. Friedman. Dr. Friedman of that. Yeah, I was on my watch, and I was Dick Tracying you, and I'm so sorry, but I had to call you back. And he was like, what is this Dick Tracying? I was on my watch. I was talking to you on my watch. Now I'm talking to you on my phone. So, but he thought that was, I thought that he was going to be, bent out of shape. He thought that was the coolest and funniest thing ever. He came right on with me. I was just like, thank you, and so we became friends. And I thought I was really pleased about that. I thought he was absolutely one of the best people I met through this field. I mean, and then I got to meet him at Eureka Springs.
Well,
The Ozark Mountain UFO Conference. He was speaking at my first one.
it's so funny, the like serendipity of it all, right? It feels like
It is.
like every year when I go down a rabbit hole of some kind, right? Like just on YouTube trying to find out what's out there. I stumble upon someone, I become obsessed with them. I'm like, oh, they're so knowledgeable. I'm gonna watch all of their podcasts. And then, lo and behold, the speaker committee, booked them.
Right.
And I'm like, I get to meet them,
Yeah. I mean,
It's just
Do you want to hear something hilarious relevant to that?
What's that?
I was at a ghost hunt in Birmingham, Alabama. Right. And so they were broadcasting from the event. I didn't know anything about that. So, but I met Chase Klotsky that night. And we became friends. I mean, we were like, just had known each other our whole lives. It's very fun. She's still a dear friend. I love Chase the day I met her.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So
her presentation on those skulls, like, really had me rethinking history,
And that was her very first presentation.
Oh yeah, I was just like, I was sending my friends like texts like, can you believe this? And they're like, what are you talking about now? Like, because it's like something new every week. I'm like, oh, did you know about this? And it's such a beautiful thing. But
she went and got that forensics degree just to be able to do that trip.
Oh,
I mean, she prepared for that.
That's insane. Just it's just so, like, it amazes me how many walks of life we have. I mean, like, if you look at Jim Segala, I mean, he's like in engineering, he's in health, he's, he's got like a PhD in physics, you're just okay. And this year he's coming to the conference, he's talking about the medical side of anomalies, right? He's talking about, like, there's real health consequences to like radiation exposure around, like, the UAPs. that kind
Yes.
of thing.
And the implants. Like
Oh
the first person I ever talked to that still had, Terry Lovelace. I was just like, really? Really? I mean, I had no idea
oh
that
yeah,
this was something. Yeah, I knew Whitley had them, but Whitley Strieber, and he won't take his out,
no,
and because it's communication with his wife. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I was tripping on some of this stuff, right? I mean, it was so unexpected to hear people talking about them. But I have to ask you a question.
oh sure.
Do you know what show that Chase was broadcasting that night?
Chase
Fate
was
Magazine Radio. She was
oh
the host
yeah,
for me at Fate Magazine Radio.
she hosted it for a while. Yeah,
She
that's
did.
awesome.
So I thought that was so cool. Talk about serendipity.
Oh
Right?
yeah, you feel like
Because
connected,
yeah. Well, we were connected before we ever knew that. I mean, before I ever even knew anything about that. So, and then we wound up both being the host, and I thought, "Whoa, this is so cool," But she is one of the best people I've ever met. I like her. So,
oh yeah, it's mad respect. It just, and like I said, all of her presentations I've seen just
mhm.
blew my mind off the water. I mean, like
Yeah.
we really need to, I think the scientific community is really missing out because of their materialistic,
Closed-mindedness.
yes, closed-minded materialistic paradigm. There
Yeah.
is so much evidence to the contrary, and it's so fascinating. And it actually, you could actually collect that data,
Yeah.
like there are data points
There are
that
people who still have physical data.
yeah, and that's a big part of what Sagala has been working on, because he's been working on the clinical data, right? Analyzing the just massive amounts of clinical data that's happened over just so many years,
Yes.
and I think he has quite like he had like 500 frequent experiencers that he's showing that clinical data from, right? And they don't know each other. It's just there's so many people saying the same things, having the
Yeah.
same symptoms. Like we need to get past that old idea, right? And in a lot of ways, I mean, disclosure didn't quite happen the way people want it to, but I consider we've had a soft disclosure, I would say.
Well,
And now we're kind of in this kind of weird phase.
we're kind of betwixt and between,
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of people who are putting information out. You have television programs that are ostensibly putting information out. And there's a lot that that is kind of repetitive, and I think that's kind of part of getting people to maybe lose interest
Oh,
or
yeah.
just to mock it or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And
I think they're doing like a intentional slow leak of repetition. I also think that the release of AI was
yes,
also about like
yes,
how far can we like make them debate, because anything that comes out the military has had for at least 10 years.
oh, at least.
At
I mean,
least.
truly at least.
Yeah,
So,
and so you come out with AI and at this time, and now the cracks are showing, right? And
yeah,
so many,
buddies.
yeah, it's
I mean, and it's getting fun to watch the cracks expand.
Oh yeah, and
because they
they're
are.
expanding to an extent that now the government is finally like, okay, they're real. Look over here, they're real because like they're finally like dropping things in the midst of the chaos of the other stuff that has been coming out or happening. And I'm like, oh, that's all on purpose. Like, in
Yes.
fact, I'm almost convinced that full disclosure, like the full hog disclosure everyone's waiting for, will be a last ditch effort. you know, when they have all their other like, playbooks run out, didn't work, right? I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way, but that's just kind of the way they've been
I don't
spinning
think
things.
that you are. And I I have a very I'm of the opinion that we've already had disclosure.
Yeah.
And, you know, this happened. We don't know what it is. We don't know why it is, but it happened,
Yeah.
and then that kind of evolves into, well, but you need to expand.
Yeah.
You need to expand this thought process and, guide, and they're not gonna.
Oh no.
And it's so funny because I asked Travis Taylor years ago at his very first Alien Con. He had just joined Ancient Aliens. He was the new kid on the block, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. And I was at his lecture, and I knew his background because he was very open about his background. And I said, well, are you disinformation or are you disclosure?
Yeah.
He got mad. He got
Oh.
so mad. And yeah, that was scary. But because I thought he was going to have a stroke. He's Irish, so they turn red. So
Oh yeah.
I was just like, ugh. So I saw him again. We're both members of the Scientific Coalition on UAP Studies.
Mhm.
And I was at a conference and he walked in with George Knapp and they were on a mission, getting information. And I admire both of them. So I'm just, but they were deadlocked on what they were doing. And so I saw Travis and he was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Back
hey,
up.
Travis. And I was like, I'm sorry if I made you feel like I put you on the spot. And he was like, oh, well, no, but, and I was like, but you never answered me.
Yeah.
And then I didn't say anything else. And then he turned all red again. But,
It happens.
so I was just kind of like, well, I guess I've got my answer.
Yeah.
And then he turned all red again. But, because he really is, it's like with Lou Elizondo in his time. They're kind of in a no man's land.
Yeah.
Because even when you come out, you still are bound by the national secrets, right?
Oh yeah, and that's the aspect that makes it so hard. I mean, how many UAP hearings where the person was like, I can't disclose that. I can't disclose that. I'm under contract. I can't disclose that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, then
So
don't be sitting here.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you're going to
Come
call
back.
somebody and that's all they can say, do your job better and get somebody that can answer your question.
It's like,
I mean,
oh yeah. We had to turn the Senate hearing off because my
yes.
husband, well, okay, I was yelling more than my husband was, so
You were too? Okay, I was
yeah.
too.
I
And
was
I'm
yelling
sitting
at the
here.
TV because I was like, it's kind of a situation where you feel like this could have been an email instead of a meeting,
It could.
Yeah.
Although Nancy Mace's face, right?
Yeah.
When she said, you know, alien, do we have remains from these crashes? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
This is a classic case of don't ask a question you don't know the answer to, right?
Yeah.
And, are they human remains? No, they are not human remains.
Oh
And
yeah.
her
Well,
face was priceless. I mean, because I was just like, girl, what are you doing? But
well, I was a lot more impressed with what the House was trying to do.
yes,
It was the Senate that I was like, you're not even asking a question. Like that wasn't a question, but
well, they were talking at them. I
yeah,
mean, I don't
it
want to
was
hear
just
you talk. I want to hear them talk.
yeah, it was yeah, like I said, we turned it off cuz for the sake of our sanity. But we did watch a few of them and it just so, just hats off to people that are, in that scene trying to actually get the truth, right?
Mhm.
Like they're just it's so uphill. It feels so uphill with everything that they have to face and I know that it's better than it has been in the past. Like, you look at the progression of ufology and how, you couldn't even talk about it. We started a place where people couldn't even talk about it without losing their retirement, right?
Yeah,
Like without losing their status in their community, without losing their job, like
yeah,
you could
or their pension.
yeah,
I mean, everything.
everything. Like you had a climate where you literally like you become your reputation is trashed, you're made fun of, in some cases people got shunned by their own family. Like
Yes,
it's it but despite that there were all these people coming out and saying no, this happened, right? And
yes,
I'm not going to stop talking about it. And so hats off to anyone that was brave enough to do that, or is brave enough. There's still people out there
there are.
going out there on a limb, but and you kind of go out on a limb on it's not just the extraterrestrials. I mean, we got 3 Sasquatch experts coming this year.
I
Um
know. I love that. I mean, I really
and
do love that. And
and
it,
I was just so happy cuz we had every year we do a different graphic, right?
yes,
And the person that made that graphic just intuitively made a Sasquatch on the shirt. And I was like,
yes,
that is the perfect year because a lot of times the graphics are made well before we book the speakers.
I really, yeah.
And so the person that made the graphic didn't know who we were going to have necessarily, right?
Oh, okay.
And so that was just so perfect. And, everyone loves it. But, Ron Meyer,
Yeah,
Alan McGargle, they've been to our conference before. And
I
last
have. I
time,
saw them when they were there before.
oh, yeah, last time they were talking about how, so there's a connection between Sasquatch and portals.
Yes.
And they were, talking about they were doing skinwalker like experiments to, like, identify the connection, right? They were looking for the portals and
Yep.
they're coming back and they're talking about the high strangeness of Bigfoot. And
Yes.
apparently they have an interesting protocol that they use to initiate contact with
To
Sasquatch.
initiate it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh, that'll be different.
yeah, there is so there's been quite a few like people over the years. I believe Jim Mars was one of the people that made the suggestion like you if you understand Sasquatch, um you can uh you can have encounters with Sasquatch. And part of it, as some of the experts have explained, is because they seem to have like I would say extra sensory compared to
Yes.
us. It is believed they can communicate telepathically. There is a link between them and portals, because if you look at like Native American art, for example,
Yes.
everywhere there's a Sasquatch, whatever you call it, right? It's called different things. Skunk ape, Nuktinach, you know, let's see. There's quite a few. Sasquatch, Yeti, whatever you're gonna call it. Um, they all have Native American art that suggests portals like in that area. And
Yes.
what's also interesting about Sasquatch, there are so many high anomaly zones where people are seeing UAP sightings near Sasquatch land. They're seeing like ghost encounters.
Yes. And yes. And
Yeah.
Dogman.
Yes, Dogman. Yeah. My husband's really been getting into Dogman. We kind of pick a different cryptid. The one I was looking at last time was Mothman, because we had
Yes.
we had Brent come, and he talked about Mothman prophecies. And
Yes. He was such a good speaker and a good
oh yeah,
interview.
he's a cool dude. And man, he made so many. I mean, John A. Keel made a lot of connections himself, right?
Right.
But he expanded upon them so well, you know, and it blew my mind. And then it's like everything like kind of follows each other, because my husband's really into the cryptid world. So right now he's doing like there's these goblins that are like been seen in Appalachia. And
Oh,
we were watching this documentary, and it's like out on YouTube. I think it's called Hellier, something like that.
I'm
They
writing
were
that down.
they were they were following these Appalachian goblins, and what was so weird was how many parallels it had to what John A. Keel wrote about in the Mothman prophecies, because they were getting all these weird tips from an anonymous source on their investigation. And um, eventually, said source was quoting things that Mr. Cold, that was, one of the like earlier Men in Black reports, right? With Keel stuff. Um, there was a lot of like uh code language that seemed to come from stuff you would read in the Mothman prophecies. And you would think that these entities aren't connected. You would think, oh, Mothman sounds like he's something else, right? So why would Mr. Cold show up? Why would there be all these weird hints, right? And so you just get into it, and like I said, it's so serendipitous that
Yeah.
you're just like, okay, this is almost scary sometimes.
Sometimes when you start getting into these things, they are. I
Yeah.
mean, it definitely gives you pause.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just so. And then you add Ronnie LeBlanc to this list of Sasquatch experts, and you're just like, okay, because I think a lot of people have seen like Expedition Bigfoot,
Yes.
because it's pretty big, and he's done like Monsterland, and it's almost chilling, right? You're just like, how do you explain that? How do you know it some of these encounters sound a little scary, right?
I think that they do. I mean, because I'm not a woodsman.
Yeah.
I'm a suburbanite. Okay. But not necessarily true. I lived on top of a mountain in Tennessee for a little while, and I lived rurally in Georgia for a little while. But I have more often than not been in suburbs and cities. But, it really, when I lived in Georgia, we had something that we had a stalk. I thought it was a stalker. In fact, he was seen by a lot of people and wouldn't let me see him. But we had something that would scream
Huh.
at night.
That's interesting.
And that was, I thought it was a panther.
Yeah.
And I was told that's not a panther. So
Oh,
I don't know what it was. But
that's more unnerving when you're like, it's not a fox, it's not a panther. Well, then what
yeah.
is this?
It's something that I'm not walking out to meet, right? But
Oh, yeah.
I'm just not. And so, because I'm, how are you going to win hand to hand combat with a Sasquatch? I mean, you're not.
You're not.
But,
you're not.
But, I just, turned out we did have a stalker, but that wasn't who was screaming. I wish that whatever was screaming had gotten him. But, and I do really wish that. So I'm like, boy, that makes me sound mean, but I'm not. This person haunted me forever. And I never got to see his face, so he could walk up to me tomorrow and I wouldn't know it was him. So, but, I'm going to show you, because one of the things that I learned, I did not know this, right? And I've driven through this area forever and ever. I'm in. But I was going through, because I go to the beach a lot, because I like the beach. And so there's a place I stopped called Kanika. It's in Kanika County, Alabama.
Yeah.
And the town, I think, is Alberta. No, it's not. But anyway, it just so happens to be the Bigfoot capital of our state.
Yeah.
Because there's so much activity. And I was like, why do they have these Bigfoot stickers? Well, I may be going to find out, because I'm not scared anymore. I'm just not. That experience toughened me up a little bit, So
Well,
I'm looking forward to these lectures.
Oh, yeah. Well,
because when they were there before, I didn't get a chance to really talk to them.
The nature of these encounters, right? Like, whether it's Sasquatch, whether it's like, you have ghosts, you have something like that. You have something unknown.
Yeah.
That's in your space, right? My husband
and
in
your face.
Yes.
Your space and your face.
My husband and I had a really interesting experience. There was like this shadow thing in our bedroom. And at first I was the only one to see it, and I would scream because it was so tall, and I was like, I don't know what that is,
Which is never good.
And then one night my husband saw it too, and I was like asleep. And he was like, I saw the thing. And then, later on, I got some hypnosis to kind of figure out what it was. And it was actually harmless. What it was, it appeared to be a different type of extraterrestrial that's like, it manipulates shadows because it's too big to come to Earth itself. Yeah, but it seemed benevolent. It was kind of an unknown to me kind of species.
Sure, that's always scary.
Yeah, and then when I asked people about it, because it gave me its, what they call it, I'm like, well, does anyone know what these things are? And everyone's like, I've never heard of them. Like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, it's not, because they were saying it was like a gorgon.
Really?
But it's not. So we have the concept of Gorgon, which is like Medusa with snake hair.
Yeah, but Gorgon is not that.
It's not that. Gorgon, it looked like an octopus squid thing that floated, made out of shadow. And then I found out they're like octopus based things.
And that means they're smart.
Oh yeah. They're,
because octopi are the smartest.
They seemed they were friendly. I found out later, like, what they were trying to do. I didn't know that I had a tooth abscess forming, and they were trying to
Oh,
heal me of it. So, and, later, I did actually have to, get some help with that, but I was like, "Huh, that's weird that it showed up." You know? And I'm like, "But why?" And but I felt so validated when my husband saw it too,
well,
because I was
sure. I mean, because you kind of wonder, right?
yeah, and I
I
was
mean, if
like
it's just you do
yeah,
wonder.
but no, he undoubtedly saw it, and so we put in a MUFON report, and so I kinda got more backstory, and so I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm starting to believe the," because before you're an experiencer, you don't know what to believe, right?
Well, yeah, because some of this stuff is so out there
Oh, yeah, and it just
and still true.
and you're like I came to a place of acceptance, which is why I mentioned it here. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, like, there's a connection there," you know? Um, uh, it's about those mysteries of consciousness, and it absolutely convinced me of, like, the existence of past lives and stuff like that, you know? I
Well,
was just
sure.
like I was like, "Well, it's making sense," and then, experiencers have this history of, like, at first they're terrified, right?
Yeah, because it's different.
Where it's so different, you don't know what you're dealing with, but then when they come to a place where they've studied it long enough, talked to other people that have experienced it,
And
because I
survived. Yeah,
yeah,
because you
then
don't know, right?
you come to a place of acceptance and you're like, "Okay, yeah, I'm not going to question the the wildness of reality anymore,"
Right,
right?
right.
Like, I'll ask my questions, like, you don't need to believe everything, but I'm not going to be so quick to be like, "They gotta be making that up," you know?
Yeah.
Like
And I used to be. I
yeah.
mean, and I was an experiencer. And but I would like, oh, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
This is,
What
yeah,
was yours like as an
mine
experience?
was just interaction. I mean, it was craft and it was it was pretty. The first time I was in seventh grade, and I didn't. I knew that I saw a UFO because my dad and all of his paratrooper buddies were grilling out. They'd done a jump that day, and blah 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 blah. And then there was, we're all outside doing the cooking, and there's something in the air,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "What is that?"
Hmm.
And they all looked over at it. Then they looked at each other, and then they looked at me, and they said, "It's a helicopter." I was like,
No, it's not. That is not a helicopter.
"No, you were jumping. I know what a helicopter looks like. There's no noise, and I watched you jump out of them all day. That's not
Yeah.
a helicopter." I mean, and
Some
I was kind of like patted on the head, and but that night there were like lights outside my window,
yeah.
and my sister was sound asleep, but lights wake me up. So even then, and so I'm like, oh, not getting up, and I just pulled the covers over my head and called it a night.
Oh,
But
yeah. No,
I
I've been
was,
there. It's it's
yeah,
it's insane. Well, even something where it seems more mundane, like,
yeah,
how they have the screen memories, like, where you're
yes,
remembering something in place of an extraterrestrial? I had that, and that was so unnerving. Like, I was driving, it was at night, I turned to go to where I was staying, there was this 4-foot owl. Like, it stood over my car lights, right?
I have
Just
heard of people having owls as their place memories.
yeah, it's apparently place memory number 3. Like, there was someone that did a study on it. I'm trying to think um who pointed that out. I know it was someone at our conference though,
Right.
because I was like, that explains why I was so weirded out, because I looked at this. It was 4 foot or taller owl s- staring at me over my headlights in a Jeep, right? So it's
You were
not
in
like
a Jeep and it was
I was
over
in
your headlights?
yes. And that's what unnerved me. I was like, I'm not in like a Civic, you know? Like I'm not in
Right.
one of those cars that are really low to the ground. That thing was tall enough to really mess with my head. And then, well, to make matters worse, there was an electrical anomaly that was happening at the place I was staying at the time, and it freaked me out because the smart TV just clicked on, clicked off, clicked on, clicked off all night. Just
Oh, wow.
so I was like, okay, it's weird enough to see like a super tall owl that seems like it doesn't belong, but I was like terrified because the that TV was clicking on and off, and then what it was I was staying at someone else's place until my apartment was ready, and
Right.
so and it was I thought the place was haunted or something, you know? I was and I did not sleep for like a week, because
I'm
I was like,
sorry.
that's not, and I didn't back then I didn't even know that was a screen memory. People were like, well, owls are alarming. Don't worry about it. I'm like, but
Well,
why?
4-foot owls are alarming.
Yeah, like
I mean,
why was
you
it
don't want a
okay?
hoot owl outside your window either.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah,
I
and it
mean,
did that
there's all
thing
kinds
where
of things with that. So,
it did that thing where it turned its head all the way around. And so
yeah,
that was just I was like, and so that night,
that's a big
oh yeah, yeah, and that night I had a friend in college that was so afraid of owls that if you showed her a picture of it, she would scream. And
Oh, wow.
of
I'm
course
like
people
that with snakes. Yeah.
oh yes. Well, people
That's
teased
about
her.
the only thing that scares me, but they scare me.
They're unnerving, I will say.
Well, they
But
just
like,
move so creepy. Like,
oh,
I
they
don't like
do.
that.
I got really scared one time because I like a bird had dropped one on my car, and
Oh, no.
it was dead. It was like a dead rattlesnake, but I was still like, I'm gonna turn around right now because I don't think I'm gonna have a good day.
It's time to go home.
It's time to go, man. But yeah,
Oh my
like
gosh.
it was just so. But I that night, that friend that's so afraid of owls, I called and I was like, I am so sorry that I've ever teased you about owls because I just saw one that was over 4 foot tall and I don't know what to do. Just
Oh
uh,
gosh. Yeah, that would be eating some crow right there or owl.
yeah, eating some owl. Just and
Oh
I
my
was like,
goodness.
and then when I saw that lecture years later, I was finally like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like and also what was funny was
I saw that lecture too. So,
that particular friend of mine said, I think they're connected to aliens, and in college I laughed because with everyone else because I was like,
no such thing.
it sounded like a conspiracy theory, right? And or like, just, you're so afraid you're like making up something, right? And then I ate those words. So
Yeah.
so bad. So bad. But and then I saw something in the sky too, and I think it was
What'd you see
related.
in the sky?
It wasn't a ship, oddly enough, or I don't call it a ship. It looked like a giant jellyfish in the sky.
You saw a jellyfish?
Yes, like
The
it was
only
made.
video I've ever seen of that was Jeremy Corbell got it off of some guy over in Iraq. Have you seen
Yeah,
that?
Okay, it was different than that one.
Okay.
Like, and what made it different, it's completely made out of orange light. And that one, was trying to cloak itself, like it had a
Mhm.
mechanical looking part to it, and you could
Yeah.
see it trying to cloak itself.
Trying
This
so
one
hard. Yeah.
this one was not. This one was just light. It was pure light. And and I was like, at first I thought it could be a wacky cloud formation
Right.
interacting with sunlight until it pulsated. So it was
Oh,
doing
that's
this.
not.
So you can't, how does a cloud
Yeah, they don't.
pulsate, expand, contract like it's a jellyfish? And I knew what it was when I saw it, because by then I had looked into what was that thing that thing that came to my room. I
Yeah.
had like done further things, and I had done hypnosis, like I said, and under hypnosis, I saw that jellyfish thing with the squid things that I later learned about. Like they were working together, and they are so large, like they make stars. That's what it looked like they were doing when I saw them then. And then I had
Yeah.
dreams, like very vivid dreams of them like making stuff, like reoccurring. But the jellyfish was like making star matter, or it looked like it was, and then the squids were pushing the dust together
Oh, wow.
to spin out into galaxies. And I know that sounds like really wild,
Well, it
but
sounds really interesting. I bet the visual on that was amazing.
oh, it was, and I wish it didn't show up on my camera. Like
Oh,
I was
but it
having
never
trouble.
does.
I was having trouble because, I was driving, so I tried to pull over and get a picture, get a
Yeah.
video. It wouldn't show up.
Well, I
So,
mean, they don't. I don't
yeah,
know. It's not really a cloaking thing. It's just more like yeah, you're not getting that.
yeah, and
So,
I just got the sense like it was so life form like what I saw when I did a MUFON report telling them about it. I actually did an entity spotting report versus a UIP,
mhm,
because I was so convinced that it was one of those jellyfish things I saw.
yeah,
And what and I think what's disturbing is how large it was. And I had the impression that what I saw in the sky that day is a baby. So you know how like our jellyfish are microscopic, like they're like,
yes,
that's what it was to them, because they're so big,
wow,
based on the research I did later, like, and if you were doing like the Doppler thing, like they were asking, well,
yes.
how big was it compared to your hands at a distance? It was like this. It was like a softball. And they were like, "Do you think it was in our sky or outside of our atmosphere?" And I said, "I honestly think it was outside of it. It was just so big."
Wow,
And it's just,
wow.
yeah, so, and I didn't expect that, right? Like I never expected all these odd experiences, but they keep accelerating.
You know, I I I didn't have anything for a long time, and then when you know, I did when I was younger, and then they slacked off, and then when I was going through childbirthing ages, that was it picked up a little bit, right? Again. But then now in later life, there's I don't have the psychic skills that I did. I have knowing, but not straight out psychic skills that I did.
Oh, I got
But
you.
I have more interaction. with things.
When you
So
say psychic skills, did you like, where are you talking like you could hear them, you could see them?
I
What
could,
was it?
well, I'm still really good with humans. Like
Mhm.
I can read a human in a heartbeat, but as far, I mean, like
Like it
intent and
yeah, okay.
yeah, I know if you're a good guy or a bad guy is a rule. Some
Yeah.
people, two people have fooled me, and that's it so far that as I know. But but now I'm much more open again because I've gone through change of life again,
Yeah.
right? Which actually has resulted in me having a full blown case of ADHD,
Yeah.
which is a new and exciting experience. But there's other stuff too. And I thought I was losing I really thought I had Alzheimer's
Mm.
because of the severity of the symptoms.
Yeah.
And now it's not, so thank God. But it was so weird that my skill sets were still kind of evolving, right? So you
Oh
got
yeah.
stuff to look forward to, chick. But it even is more so on some things. You know, I found it weird that my psychic stuff kind of phased somewhat because
Yeah.
I used to bank on that. My intuition has saved my bacon so many times in my
Oh yeah.
life. I mean, and I made every decision based on that. I mean, really, you know, the ones that said if I ignored it, I got in trouble. But as I got through child raising and stuff, it transferred to knowing about my kids. And then it just kind of quietly faded out. And now with the ADHD stuff, it's almost like, you know, shiny objects kind of a thing. You know, don't get distracted by the shiny objects. But since I'm taking medicine for that, then I thought it would dull that, but it's starting back up.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
whatever, yeah. I mean, I'm 64 years old and I've got all this stuff happening again that I thought was gone, but I will take it because I'm not kidding. My intuition has saved my life multiple times.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, no, do not make that turn. No, do not talk to that person. No, do not, you know,
Yeah.
just stay here until that's gone. You know, things
I've
like that
had
happen
I've had
forever.
dreams where I was given a warning, right?
Yes. Did you
And
recognize it when you were awake?
yes, so I would
Yes.
actually so I've had,
Prophetic
there's
dreams.
different types of dreams, right? There's the predictive dreams, which are like precognitive. I've had quite a few of
Yes.
those. And a
Yes.
lot of them they'll say a being will say something about someone's health that I
Yes.
that I can't possibly know. Like they told me to warn my husband's side of the family to go to the doctor. And so I said, "Hey, everyone who's been not going to the doctor, go to the doctor, because apparently someone is in trouble." And
Right.
my father-in-law had to get a heart stent. He was like 2 weeks away from a major heart attack because he had like a 90% blockage in his
Wow.
widowmaker. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and we started taking it very seriously after that one, you know, it just so they give little dreams.
Yeah.
Now if I meditate, I can hear them, whatever's talking.
Well, I don't have that back yet. I'm hoping that with this other stuff, because it's interesting, even with the medication, the brain is still like kicking,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And the interesting part is that they said that I've had this my whole life,
Huh.
but that menopause kicked it in to high gear, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
I think probably with my adolescence that, I mean, because you couldn't lie to me.
Yeah.
No one could lie to me. Nobody could fool me. And I was very reactionary as well. So, I was defending, I used it to defend
I
myself and
wonder.
other people, right? So, yeah. So probably I'm, I can heal. I
Yeah.
mean, and I can always heal, but now I can seriously heal. And it's just like, I didn't expect that.
Oh
I've
no.
just been living and going. And so, but I use that, my dogs, if they're having a bad day or whatever, you know,
It's real stuff. I mean, I've recently learned how to send people like light energy for
yes,
different things, and then I learned how to like make like orbs and pyramids to like trap that air around them to help them heal. It's kind of funny how I got there. What I you know how people do like pendulum dowsing, right?
yeah,
They hold an object like that dangles and they get yes and no. Well,
yeah,
I got into that. Well, it was in the process of doing that constantly that I started hearing because it kind of
really,
it activated a more meditative state for me
right,
when I held it. And what's interesting is I can't hear them without it. Like I'm
okay,
I'm not quite there, so I'm wondering if maybe my mind needed something to focus on.
absolutely.
And I've read a lot of Dolores Cannon's books, obviously, because working at the
No,
company.
really,
Yeah, you never would have guessed. Well, in her Nostradamus trilogy, she talked about how Nostradamus would get his students to have a focal point. And so some of them would stare at fire, or some of them would have
Mhm.
to stare at like water to see or hear what they were trying to. And so I was like, oh, so this holding something in my hand that dangles is enough of a focus for me to like short circuit my brain to, I guess, open that ear, something like that. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of different ways. Like I've also learned, with learning hypnosis, learning about hypnosis, seeing people do it, all these things,
yes,
getting trained in it. They have a concept called a keyword. Well, sometimes if you're trying to hear, right, you could set a keyword to get your mind to go there. Like over time, right?
yeah,
You like get you make these little, I guess, psychic shortcuts. I'm like, "Oh, it's the science of hypnosis," right?
yes,
And people call them different things. Some people call them keywords, some people call them spells, right? Whatever you're calling them, it's the same principle. You're letting your brain do something, like go into a different wavelength essentially. And you're just
kind of
kind of,
shifting gears.
oh yeah, you're like using a mechanism or something, right? And so I've like I'm like, okay, there's a lot of different mechanisms out there. And I think that's why you see in the metaphysical world, all of those mechanisms, right? So it's kind of funny,
It's
just
kind
that
of cool.
that journey. Yeah. And I got quite a few friends that their experiences with extraterrestrials led them to discover their purpose.
Mhm.
And one of them became like a shaman because of it. And
Interesting, but
he was
logical.
like, yeah, he was like, I didn't understand, how we got here, right? But it makes sense, and he's more at home, right, with his path um now, and he's not afraid of the aliens anymore. But this this guy I know had a lot of really weird experiences. Like he had reptilians come to him almost every night for like several months on end, and he's finally, you might see him at a few events. Not at I think he might be at our conference, but I think he's gonna speak at some other conferences around the nation.
Okay.
He's starting to share his story, and I met him at MUFON, and it's just so cool. So I'll definitely have to introduce you to him
Please
if
do.
he
Yeah, I
shows
would
up,
like that.
because it's wild how much he's been through with his, because he was like, yeah, there were reptilians, there were grays, there were Lyrians. Like, I'm like, yeah, man, you got the whole gambit there.
The whole schmear. Yeah.
Oh
I have
yeah,
a girlfriend that interacts with a lot. So, and
yeah.
at first it blew me away. And, you can either say, yeah, this is my friend. I know them and I know that they would not be making this up and I know they're not crazy. So this is obviously real. And it's actually, it's actually amazing to see a friend evolve like that, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, like this guy, once people catch wind of him, I have no doubt you're gonna have him on your show. Like,
I'd love
I
to.
just,
I mean, I
yeah,
love people like that.
he's so rich with the stories. He has so much information, and he gets so many downloads. He can channel. He actually like inspired me to grow my abilities too, because with
Yeah,
like the psychic stuff, it's a muscle, right? It's
it
something
is a
that
muscle.
you can learn to cultivate, you know.
Well, and you can let it go too,
Oh yeah, that too.
but
um
not entirely. But you can just by not flexing it, you can. It's one of those. If you don't use it, you don't lose it, but you feel like you did. I felt
oh
like I
yeah,
did.
you get fuzzy in it for sure. Like,
Yeah,
it's like, when you don't ride a bike very much,
exactly.
you
Yes,
know, you
you
don't
need
forget.
those training wheels back on.
Yeah, you don't forget. You just, you're wobbling all over the place.
Yeah, which is not the best thing to be doing when you trying to get your abilities back in gear. Yeah, it's just like you don't know who you're going to affect,
Oh
but
yeah, definitely.
or what. But you know what? I'm having the best time with you. This is the first time that we've ever actually sat down and talked like this.
Oh yeah.
So, because you're always so busy, and I try not to be in the way, and and then I'm busy when you're not. It's just kind of, this is so cool. But I will tell you that one of the best things that ever happened to me at your conference was when y'all came to me and said, Brent Rains wants to be interviewed.
Yeah, let's
He's
do it.
got stuff to say. And that was the worst recorded interview in the history of interviews because, it was just terrible. And so I had him back on and I was like, come on back. Come on
Yeah,
back. And
oh,
so,
I saw that, and it was great. Like
he's
that
greght.
he's
I
just
mean,
he's such a
there's
cool
not
dude.
anybody that y'all have had that I thought was not. And I've I've enjoyed every chance I've had to be there. And, you know, I don't know, for people that don't know about Dolores Cannon, you've got about 5 minutes. Tell them about her.
Okay, so Dolores Cannon is the grandma pioneer of
Yep.
past life regression hypnotherapy technique called quantum healing hypnosis. And what it was, or so it's a technique that Dolores developed over the course of several years, like, like 30, 40 years of investigation. What happened was she was just an average, Navy wife with a big family, right? And her husband learned hypnosis, and so they got involved in doing hypnosis on the Navy base they were at, and then they accidentally discovered past lives, and Dolores was very fascinated by that, and so they were regressing this subject. She was going back to times like when she was like a mob, part of the mob, like, and all kinds of other things like, uh, well, she was a flapper with some mob involvement, I should say. But she was so fascinated by what happened, she had to like understand it. And so she learned more about hypnosis. She had a brief period where she had to put it on hold because unfortunately her husband had a major accident that kind of made her put hypnosis on a shelf for a while. But and he ended up living, but it was a bad wreck, and he had a lot of recovering, and he left, he discharged from the Navy, and they started raising their family in Arkansas. And then when all the kids left the house and people are like, "Hey, Dolores, what are you going to do?" And she's like, "I'm going to do past life regression hypnosis because that is fascinating." And what Dolores did was she stumbled onto a world. Like, first it was just the past lives, but then it came, she had people that had been experiencers coming, and she's learning about all this phenomena. She had people that had a past life that involved being a student of Nostradamus. And then so she started communicating with the famous Nostradamus and getting the quatrains translated, all that, and became the most unlikely expert of Nostradamus. It was just, it was incredible. But she has all these years of cases, and she learned so much from this, right? And she's just, she found out so much, right? Like government secrets, like all kinds of things just coming through these past lives. But then it became more than that. It became a way of healing people because she learned to access the higher self, the subconscious, and people were having healings and trauma taken away. And that's the incredible part. And she helps so many people. So,
and you can learn more about the quantum hypnotherapy there, and you can find her books at the ozarkmountain.com.
Yeah, ozarkmt.com.
Yes.
That she has 21 books. They vary different topics, from extraterrestrials to the things she learned about the universe to Nostradamus. There's some Jesus material. It runs the full gamut. There's some like sacred knowledge, esoteric, Native American kind of stuff, because she just saw thousands of subjects worldwide, and that she was getting all this information coming through, and she was learning about consciousness, by tapping into the subconscious. And there's also the quantum healing hypnosis technique academy. So if you go to qhht.com or qhhtofficial.com, they still teach her technique, and they still have practitioners doing it. So if you ever want to do the hypnosis, you can check them out, look them up. And then we have all her videos and stuff on our YouTube channel, Ozark Mountain Publishing. You can find us on YouTube. All our conference videos are there too. So if you're wondering, do I want to do this conference? Check out those videos. Also, here's some bonus information. We're doing a live stream this year on our YouTube.
Are you?
Yes. Yay. Yes. So, and the live stream is free. So it's on both the...
So if you can't get there,
get
there online. We are out of time. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've had so much fun with you. I can't wait to see you, like face to face.
This will be great. I'm so excited.
So, and David may or may not come. We'll see what he decides to do. But thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, of course.
I've had so much fun. And for everyone listening, Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Yeah,
get there. April.
Well, it's April 10th through the 12th.
Yes.
Check us out. And also, for more information, you can go to Ozark Mountain UFO Conference.com. So,
Yes. So be there or be square, as it were.
oh
So
yeah.
good night, everybody. We will see you next week. Same cat time, same cat channel. And check out Fate this week. It's going to be awesome. Sunday night. See you there.